how do we go about calculating either of these materialities? Because guys, if you are going to get a materiality question, it's likely that they want you to calculate. You need to, first and foremost, calculate planning materiality. Even if the question is asked for performance, you need to calculate planning first, and then you can calculate performance, because performance materiality is merely a percentage of planning. You need to go and take the planning amount and take any percentage of that to calculate your performance, and that will show you, therefore, that performance will always be less than planning. This percentage, guys, you determine based on what you believe the risk to be. So if you feel that there's a higher risk of misstatement, you are going to apply a smaller percentage so that you have a lower figure to work with. Okay, and guys, you will just justify your percentage here. As an example, maybe you want to go with 50%. Okay, you don't want it to be too small, because there has to be a line for which we cannot audit too much. So you need to have a figure that you want that is reasonable in terms of the amount of work that you guys are able to do. Planning materiality, how do we calculate it? First and foremost, we need to determine the annual figures. I say annual because it's likely that you're expressing an opinion on annual financial statements. However, if you are expressing an opinion on interim financial statements, so your opinion is on 6-month period of financial statements, then the figures you use must be on a 6-month period. Okay, so it all just depends, but likely that's your annual financial statements, so you need annual figures. What we're saying here is the calculation must be based on the figures that you are expecting to express an opinion on. Once you've determined the figures, you need to select a benchmark for your calculation. The benchmark will then give you a range that you need to use based on the specific benchmark, and then you conclude. Please note here, guys, I have said justify, justify, justify. You cannot just put down, these are the figures, this is the benchmark, here's my calculation. You need to explain why you are choosing those figures, why you are choosing that benchmark, and then what your conclusion is based on your information. How do we do that? First of all, when you're choosing the figures, you want these figures to be the best representation of the figures that you are going to be expressing an opinion on. So, ultimately, you want the financial statements that you are going to be expressing an opinion on to be the figures that you are using. However, things like the financials are not ready, or you start planning before the year end is up, are reasons why you might not have the annual financial statements that you are going to be expressing an opinion on. So then you've got to consider which financials are going to be the best figures to use. And guys, the two factors you need to consider here are 1, availability, and 2, significant changes. So what do I mean? I've ranked them here according to what you would want to choose if available. So if availability is not an issue, you've got all the figures, you are going to want to first prize choose the current year 12-month figures, because that's what you're expressing opinion on. If, however, you start the planning before year end, then the next best option is to use the current year to date. So you don't have the entire year because you're planning 10 months into the year, but then you've got at least 10 months of current year, and there's only 2 months that you don't have the actual data for, but it's easy enough to maybe find trends to calculate that. So then you're going to want to choose the unaudited current year to date and just gross up your statement of comprehensive income items to 12 months. You don't change your account balances, you just gross up the income items and expenditure items because those change monthly. If you don't have any current year figures, then you've got to choose between prior year audited and budgeted or forecast for the period that you're going to be expressing an opinion on. And this is when you now look at that second factor we have here, significant changes. If there were significant changes in the prior year to the current year, then you are going to want to use the forecast or the budgeted if those changes were included. So when they budgeted, they said, oh, we are going to be entering into a new market, so I'm going to include the expected influence of that change in my budget or forecast. You wouldn't have that in your prior year financials because there wasn't the change. So I want to use the figures that are the best representation of the figures I'm going to be expressing an opinion on. I say justify, guys, because you actually want to include your justification for why you are not using any of the others and therefore choosing the one. So you've got the 4 ranking there. I want your discussion to include something about each of them when you are choosing your annual figures. So you say, I need to choose my annual figures. I'm not going to use the prior year because there's been a significant change. The budgeted have included the significant change, so they are appropriate. The current year are not complete, so I cannot use the entire sets of financials for the year. However, they've got year to date. And now you've ultimately said year to date and budgeted are acceptable, and then you conclude, I would prefer to use the current year to date grossed up because they are going to be the best representation of the figures that I'm expressing an opinion on. So you have to work through them all and conclude finally on the figures. Once you've done that, you move on to your benchmark. The benchmark is the amounts that are in the financial statements. And the benchmarks that we have given are revenue, gross profit, net profit, assets, equity. The standard adds in expenses and liability, but for your purposes, these are the benchmarks that you need to use if they are not given to you in a question, and these are the percentages that you use. This is the range. These are the percentages for each of the different benchmarks that you use, unless in the question they give you a new benchmark and a new range. Then you use what they give you in a question. So I'm going to say, yeah, you need to learn this learn this and use it in a question unless they give you benchmark and new percentages for the calc, for that benchmark and for your calculation. So you have to learn these, guys. Revenue, gross profit, net profit, assets and equity, and then the percentages that are applied to that. So if it's revenue, for your calculation, you're going to have to take the revenue amount in the financials, times it by 0.5% and 1%, and you get your range. Same for gross profit, net profit, assets and equity, and that's how you're going to calculate it. Before we start doing this calculation though, guys, you are going to have to select the benchmark. So you're not necessarily going to use all of them. And how do you determine which benchmark to use? You've got to look at the nature of the business and stability or volatility of a benchmark. So we've done our figures, now we get to benchmark. We look at the business. This business sells merchandise. They are income generating. They actually sell product to make money. As soon as they are income generating, I'm going to use a different color to As soon as they are income generating, you can use revenue, gross profit, or net profit. If they're asset intense, you can use assets. And guys, I generally see that those are the only two factors that they look at when they're saying the nature of the business. However, if you can see the financing component is highly equity, then you would state financing is high in equity, and so equity now becomes an applicable benchmark. Look at the nature of the business, and then you choose the benchmarks that are applicable. Then, before you do the calculation, you still need to go and look at stability or volatility. You've got to compare the revenue in the current year to prior, or information that they say about revenue. Has there been significant changes? Did they enter into a new market? If there have been changes, then it's not stable, then I don't want to use it. So I then go through the process of elimination to select the benchmark based on the nature and stability. And so guys, there could be a scenario where you've got all of these, having considered the nature and stability, or you could be eliminating some because they are not relevant in terms of the nature, or they are volatile. Once you've selected the appropriate benchmarks, you calculate the range for those, only for the items that are appropriate, by applying these percentages. So I've got an example here. If my statement of financial, or my annual financial statements are used, and we've got revenue sitting at 10,000, gross profit is at 8, net profits at 5, and assets at 10, and I'm not going to even look at equity. I go and apply my percentages to that. So I go 0.5% times by 10,000, I get 50 to 100. That's my range here for revenue. For gross profit, my range is now 80, 160. My net profit is 250 to 500. And my assets is 100 to 200. When I apply those percentages to that amount, that's what I get. These are now the applicable range for determining my materiality. I can go between the minimum of these, which is 50, and the maximum of the outer range, which is 500. That's ultimately what this is saying to me for my materiality calculation. However, guys, when we now get to the concluding, our first step here is to remove outliers. So I do my calculation of all the applicable, and now I've got to remove an outlier. An outlier is one range or multiple range that differs significantly from the rest. And if I look here, look at those ranges, 50 to 100, 80 to 160, 250 to 500, 100 to 200. Is there an outlier here? Yes. Net profit is an outlier. Look at that difference. Its minimum is 250. My other minimums are 50, 80, and 100. They all seem similar. 250 is more than double the larger of those. And then the other side of it, 100, 160, 500, 200, 100, 160, 200, they're all similar. 500 is again more than double the maximum there. So I can see that net profit is an outlier. It differs significantly from the rest. So I say net profit is an outlier. I cannot use it. And now my applicable ranges become revenue, gross profit, and assets. I cannot choose a materiality between 50 and 200 because that's the minimum and the maximum. How do I conclude? I go and say, if I assess inherent risk to be high, then the benchmark I want will be the lowest materiality calculation. So I'm going to choose revenue and my materiality will be 50. Why? Because I want to include as many possible areas where there could be misstatements in excess of 50 as opposed to setting it as 200 and then looking for misstatements in excess of 200. There's 150 Rand difference there, and so misstatements of 150 range there will go undetected. The higher the risk, the lower I want my materiality to include more areas of risks, more potential misstatements, because I've lowered the figure. However, if I conclude inherent risk is low just based on the information in the question, I'm going to go with the higher materiality calculation, and I might choose to go with the assets and set materiality at 200. You justify all the way through. You do the calculations according to the ranges and the benchmarks. Unless they give you benchmarks and percentages in the question, then you're going to have to justify which benchmark and percentage you're going to use there, and then conclude based on your assessment of the risks of this business. Okay, so the types of questions you guys can get asked to calculate planning, calculate performance, or analyze a materiality calculation. Calculate planning, we've just done. If you have to calculate performance, you've got to first calculate planning and then apply a percentage to get your performance. If you have to analyze a materiality calculation, guys, all you need to do is follow your steps. And every time you can see they haven't followed a step or they've concluded wrong on a step, you show that they have done so incorrectly. And where they've done it correctly, you show they've done it correctly. Because analyzing means you're going to look for where they're doing it right and when they're doing it wrong. The positives and the negatives in their calculation. Let's go and do a calculation quickly so that you can see if you can do it. Guys, go to the class example 1. You are going to have 2 minutes reading time. And you will have 12 minutes writing time.